At last.
Whoa. So, this isn't Paleo Pub, right?
I imagine that right now you're feeling a bit like tumbling down the rabbit hole.
Huh? What?
I can see it in your eyes.
You're hitting on me, aren't you?
Ironically, this is not far from the truth.
I'm not really a fan.
Why not?
Look, I'm just trying to put my 2 cents into what's going on in eSports right now.
I know exactly what you mean.
You play a lot of Vel'Koz, don't you, with the weird mecha skin? Because it kind of resembles the Squiddies, doesn't it? Okay.
Let me tell you why you're here. You're here because you know something.
Well, I'm only like gold 3, but I tell you what, if you let me go and meet up with my boy Vizoui, who I'm supposed to be trying to locate right now, he's like diamond 1, and like he can teach you a lot of stuff. Trust me.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
Apparently, no idea.
Do you want to know what it is?
What's clever with ever?
Hey everybody, and welcome to the first edition of What's Clever with Ever. I've got my man Vizoui up here. He is the banana.
Hello.
Is on Skype call. I've got my man TB King Salt over here. He's the jungler for the Bladed Kings.
What's up?
We are here today, and we've got a whole bunch of different things to discuss. Namely, with the ADC himself over at the Gamehaus, because you boys are about to go into the Challenger, the NACS OQ. It's a lot of
Open qualifiers.
Yeah.
I think that's what it's called. Something like that.
Yeah,
that's right.
So I got a bunch of questions for you guys tonight, since you guys are both avid players in the esports scene. So, what do you guys think about dynamic queue? I'll let TB King Salt start out. What do you think about dynamic?
Okay.
I
know most
dynamic
people
queue.
are gonna hate it, but I think if you're not super high elo, it doesn't affect you in any way, and I think it's a pretty good thing. I think it has its problems, like the long queue times. Like even I get long queue times. I think it obviously has its problems, but I honestly think it's a good thing. I enjoy it.
Vizoui?
I think it's a natural evolution of the game.
I think it is the single worst addition to the game that they have made in the past 6 years.
What? Why? Why?
Because, alright, I might be going on a little bit of a rant here, but there's been... I played every MOBA, like every single one, at least for a little bit, and there's been like 3 or 4 that have tried something like dynamic queue, and every single time it has crashed and burned and basically caused the player base to cut in half until they fix it, and then Riot comes along and thinks they can do it better. But none of the things they've done have improved the game. Most of the stuff that people say they experience better is because of the new champion select. Not dynamic queue, because of the new champ select. If they just had the new champ select in old solo queue, I'm pretty sure every single player in the game, well maybe not every single player, but probably more than even the current amount of people that like to change would like it more. Like dynamic queue, all it does is invalidate the ranking that you earned and creates problems that didn't have to exist. Like the problems it solved weren't problems to begin with, in my opinion.
So let's talk about the problems it solved. Do you think that it solved the insta-lock problem?
That's the champ select.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the chance. It doesn't have anything to do with dynamic queue.
Dynamic queue is literally just the ability to queue with multiple people.
Right.
Yeah, that's all it is.
That's all dynamic queue is.
Right.
It's very easily confusable.
Now, for low elo players, like bronze to gold, I think I think it matters a little bit. Like there has been multiple reports that their queue times is longer, but I think their queue times being longer is because of the new champ select, not necessarily because of dynamic queue.
That is definitely the new champ select.
But I mean, I just like it basically takes your solo queue rating and turns it into, if you play with more than 2 people, your rating is you're going to win more games, even if you're not a better player. It ruins a lot of games in high elo, and multiple pros have established that they don't like it, and I'm in the same mind as them. Like, because what happens is, when you're playing in a pre-made 5,
Yeah.
you can generally beat teams that are about a division or 2, or maybe even a tier. Like, so if you're a team of Plat 1s and you have really good synergy, you can beat a team of Diamond 3s, right? So then those Plat 1 players get into the elo of Diamond 3s, and then they go and play solo, and they are so outclassed because they don't have the team to fall back on, and it just ends up ruining games that otherwise wouldn't have been ruined if they didn't have that easy way to climb. And it also just makes your rating, which I personally took a lot of pride in before, it just makes it feel like it's not as important, right? Because how would people know that you got it yourself? People can just say, oh, you probably just played with 5-man, and you don't have a way to disprove it or anything. Right. It just makes me feel like the rating means less, and I don't like that.
So what you guys are saying is then we need, because I like the new champ select. I absolutely love
the new champ select is like I said, Dynamic Q is one of the worst additions. The new
I
champ
still like
select is easily one of the best.
I'm still on the side of Dynamic
The
Q.
new champ select is easily one of the best changes they've ever made, while Dynamic Q is easily one of the worst.
Because I love being able to hop in and be like, I want to play jungle or I want to play support, and then I want to play.
It's seriously awesome. I do think they should make it so you can only choose one role, or every role except this, but it would hurt the queue times too much for them to think about it, I think. But I think it would be really cool if you could do, like, I want to play every role except this, like Phil except this role. I think that would be something that would help.
Wasn't that what happened?
And just make it a little better.
Wasn't that what happened with that one queue? It was what was the name of it? What?
Team Builder?
Yeah, Team Builder. Wouldn't it be just like Team Builder, essentially, at that point?
Basically, Team Builder, you just selected one champion, though, but I think you should be able to select one role.
Okay. Legitimate. All right, moving on from that one. I think we got a pretty good balance. Okay, so this is something that I've heard on... I heard it on Red Mercy's channel. I heard it on Pants Are Dragons channel. I've heard it on a couple of different places here. Those are just 2. But a lot of people gripe, and Foxdrop, that was the other guy. A lot of people talk about kind of esports and sports and how they're different. And one of the biggest things that I think esports does that traditional sports doesn't do is, like, every 2 weeks or every 3 weeks, Riot comes out with a balance change. Like, they come out and, now this champion's nerfed, and it just seems... I don't even know that anybody really knows why they do it. I think personally, this is just from a business standpoint, but I think that they make these balance changes because if the same champions were always played, then you wouldn't have skins and things like that, and like wards and stuff, and all these different champions. Like, nobody would play all the champions. Like, they would just play the exact same champions, and then you couldn't keep making skins for those champions because people would be really bored with it. So I personally think it's a marketing standpoint, but I mean, you guys are players, you're better players. What do you guys think? I'll let TB King Salt start this one too. What do you guys think about the fact that they balance it out every time? I mean, do you agree with it? Is it a good idea? Is it a bad idea?
I think it's a good idea, but I mean, I don't always agree with all the balance choices, like these jungle timers. Oh, those jungle timers are gonna tilt me. But I think overall, as long as they don't do it like before major events, I think it's fine. Like the mid-season thing, like doing it in the mid-season is fine, and then like little small changes along the way, I think is completely fine.
Vizoui?
There's let me explain it like this. So in MOBAs, in my opinion, the big 3 MOBAs, which I will consider Smite bigger than Heroes of the Storm in my experience. So we'll say Smite chooses to do one huge balance update every 3 or 4 months and just keeps it the exact same. And that can lead to some interesting things for the first few weeks. But then once people figure out the meta, it gets really stale until they change it again. And that can work, and it does make it tournaments a lot easier to view and prepare for because you already know what's good. Smite does weekly balance changes. They're constantly changing stuff weekly, 100% of the time, just always throwing things in there. And I think that is a little too often. I think Riot strikes a really good balance in how many times they nerf and buff champions. And I think adding a mid-season patch like they're doing, as long as it doesn't impact MSI, is going to be really, really healthy for the game's future because it'll keep it fresh. And a 6-month interval for huge balance patches seems like it'd be really fun. But the downside of the 2-week things is they have shown that they're very quick on nerfing champions that should be nerfed.
Right.
But then they leave things like Tank Echo and Graves as overpowered and must ban as they were for like 2 or 3 patches, right? So like Tank Echo was like must ban for
I hate Tank
6
Echo.
weeks. Like 6 weeks. And if they release a patch every 2 weeks, you'd think something that strong would be nerfed in 2 weeks. So that's my main problem with it is they have the time and the power to make changes that are needed quickly, but they seem to hesitate more than I like.
So here's a question. Then. So talking about that. So as a StarCraft player, it's kind of different, but StarCraft also goes through a lot of different balance changes, right? So StarCraft got to a point, and StarCraft has this ability, so it's kind of apples to apples, but kind of not. It's kind of apples to bananas. But so StarCraft got to a point where there were no more balance changes needed. Now, of course, that's different because StarCraft has the exact same units, the exact same, races and stuff like that. So like things are the exact same. You know what I mean? So
there's a little bit less variety.
Right. There's less for variety, right? And it's just kind of the game itself. But do you think that if Riot said right now, okay, for the next year, no more champions are coming out. Like, no more champions are coming out.
Oh, I'd be insanely sad. I would be
Well,
I would hate that too.
Take the
new champs are so fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Take the fact that the way we know MOBAs and the way that we know Riot is completely, let's just change their model for a minute and just say that right then they stop. They're like, okay, no more champions. The development team is going to be just now merged with the balance team, and it's just going to be this one big balance team. We're not going to add any more new items into the game either. Like, the items that you guys have are the items that you're going to have. Do you think, and this is kind of a very broad question, do you think that Riot could balance the game? Like, there would not be any OP picks. There would not be any nerfed champions. Do you think that they could just balance all the champions out?
I think they could balance the champions out now. I just don't think they want to.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah?
It's like it makes the game more fun when champions are fun and champions are up, and then things change. It makes the game more dynamic. It makes it more fun. If you could pick any champ at any time, what's the fun in that?
So, okay.
I don't know. I just feel like they want the meta to rotate as much as possible.
100%.
It's partly because of the skins, like you said. Like, I think that does play a factor, but it keeps the game more fun, and it keeps it with a longer life for the average player.
Yeah.
If they can come back and have a completely different way to play the game. I do think that...
Do you think that deters some players, though, as well? Like, they come back and they're like...
It can, but I feel like that's a smaller number than matters. I think the numbers are bigger in the favor of meta changing than they are the meta just staying the same.
Okay. Okay, so on to the next question. How do you think, and I kind of deal with this on a daily basis, honestly, because people are always asking me, because I'm, part of the Paleo gaming thing, doing the shoutcasting, go and play, meeting people and whatnot. So, a big question is how do you feel that the general public feels about esports? Because I have a friend that's like, she's a professional bodybuilder, right? So she's in the gym all the time. She goes to the Dallas Cowboy games here, stuff like that. You have people like, Rick Fox claiming validity. You've got Shaq. He's an owner at NRG. You've got all these different peoples. So it's starting to mix up. I know there was a Colin Coward situation not too long ago. He was questioning the validity. We've got the international eSports. They're talking about making pro gaming an Olympic sport. There's all this stuff up in the air. So what do you think right now, if you were to go out in your hometown, wherever that might be, and survey 10 people just randomly? You just show up for Starbucks, buy yourself a latte, and go up to somebody and be like, what do you know about esports? What do you think the general consensus is from the public? I'm going to give it to Vizoui this time.
I personally think probably 5 out of 10 people would not even know what it was.
Yeah.
To be completely honest. And then 2 out of the 10 people would probably be like, I think it's cool. I think it has its place. And then the remaining 3 people would say they don't like it. Because generally, the society as it is now does not think, in my opinion, that it's like a real thing that's happening. You know, like there needs to be more convincing for most people. A lot of people that I've met and talked to just do not think it's a thing. Like if you go up to a random person and say, hey, I just made $1,000 playing a video game, most of them are going to think you're lying, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like not many people are going to think that's real. And it's going to take a few more years before the general population and community, even in games, like even in game, like a lot of League of Legends players don't care about esports. They just play in the video game. So it's going to take a few more years for esports to really get big enough to be worldwidely known as like a real thing. I mean, but it does help that the people that are into esports are super passionate. Right. Some of the most passionate people in any sport or group of communities that I've ever seen. So I think in a few years it really will start to be well known. But as of now, it's still got a ways to go.
So then I'm gonna pass the question over to you. Salt. So if somebody comes up to you and is like, so Salt, I hear that you play this League of Legends thing. I hear it's an esport. Like, what the hell is esports? Like, what would you say to the person? I'm a weary person, right? Like, I just clicked onto Twitch and I'm like, what the hell is all this? Like, how would you sell me on esports?
I mean, it's pretty much just competitive video games. Like, it's like an environment, it's a lifestyle, it's a competitive video game, basically. It's no different than real sports in most ways, except for it's online.
So, okay, guys, like I'm gonna pose this question, and I've actually had to deal with this question so many times. Investors, sponsors that have no idea about esports always want to know, and they always ask me this: esports players, are they considered athletes?
I mean, I came from a traditional sports background, so I'd definitely say they are, for sure.
Why?
I mean, so I played baseball in high school and was offered in college, but I didn't take it. That's a different story. But so I played baseball for a very long time, and I can tell you that playing on a team in League of Legends, I put in more work than I ever did in baseball. Baseball is like practice, like every once in a like so you have your off seasons, which pretty much you do almost nothing, depending on your team. Obviously, sometimes you can run or work out, but that's pretty much it. And then on season, well, first of all, league is on season pretty much on season the entire year. But so then you have baseball's off season, you're doing almost nothing. On season, you only have practice certain days a week and games one time a week maybe. It's like you put in so much less work than in the traditional sport in that sense, at least in the collegiate and high school level.
What do you think, Vizoui?
I mean, I don't know. I come from a sports background too. I played sports throughout my entire life. I don't think athlete is a good word for esports players.
Okay.
I don't think there's many similarities. Right? Like it's really hard to be a pro gamer or whatever, but it doesn't really require the same things that being a pro athlete does. Like it requires a lot of hard work, but what doesn't? You know, like everything is the more hard work you put in, the more you get out. Blah blah blah. But I don't think athlete is a good word for it. I do think that it deserves respect, and it is one of the hardest things to do. It does require a lot of effort. But I don't know if there's a better word, but I don't think athlete is a good one to describe it. It's going to bring up a lot of arguments using the word athlete to describe pro video gamers that I don't think are necessary.
So I partly agree with you. I partly agree with you because I think that athletes is a different word than we would use.
Yeah.
But
I don't think athlete is a good way to describe it.
But the amount of physical exertion that you put your body through whenever you play 8, 10, 12 hours of video games nonstop and put your body under that much stress and your mind under that much anxiety, if you're really taking it seriously. Like, if you're just somebody that's just, addicted to playing video games, and you just play video games to 8 to 10 hours, and it's just very casual and you don't have anything to do with your life, then it's probably just a thing. It's probably like just a hobby. It's the equivalent of maybe, bouncing a basketball for 8 to 10 hours. There's not a whole lot of physical exertion. But I think at a pro level, I think your body, I definitely know, like, your tendons in your arms, just stressing them, and the constant movement, you're susceptible for carpal tunnel. You're susceptible to different forms of tendonitis and things like that. So I think there's a certain amount of physical exertion. I think there's I know a lot of gamers that play a lot, maybe don't even lead very healthy lifestyles. Like, they sacrifice, healthy meals, good sleep habits, stuff like that. And all that stuff can play a big part in your psychosis, especially when you have players like I Will Dominate and who was the other person that Quas, some other guys, Dyrus, that really just suffered a lot from I'm a Cutie Pie, that suffered a lot from, like, anxiety disorders and stuff like that, just due to the mental strain that they're put on all the time. And we're talking about, and I'll put this, I'll butt this right up to another question that we have.
Hold on, let me say something, Danny.
Sure.
Let me pose a question.
Okay.
So so are chess players considered athletes then?
I don't think
Would
so.
you consider a chess player an athlete?
No, I wouldn't.
I think they're technically called athletes, are they not?
I don't know.
I think so, but I don't know.
I think they're
Like,
technically called athletes, so if they're technically
my
called
opinion, an
athletes, why would an
athlete-
esport player not be called an athlete?
in my opinion, an athlete is someone who uses his physical ability to do something that requires being physically fit.
A moment. Here he goes with the approach. Oh! Sterling with a fantastic dive. The ball flies straight through his hands and once again strikes him straight in the schnoz. And let's see it again on the old instant replay. Oh, every excruciating
Video game professional.
I would say
You
it's
really
physical
don't.
or mental, though.
I agree that you need mental fortitude to be a professional gamer, but you don't have to have physical fortitude. You don't have to be healthy. You don't have to be in good shape. It might help, and it probably does help, but it's not required. Whereas being a professional football player does require being healthy. Being a professional soccer player requires being insanely physical fit, and that's not something that's required in a professional gamer. I do think that you need a lot of mental fortitude, but it's a different kind of skill.
I don't know that chess players are considered athletes. I think they're.
I believe they are.
I don't think they are.
Because they're an
I think
Olympic
it's
sport,
required.
I
I think
believe
it's
they are.
considered a sport, but I don't think they're considered athletes.
Just
I
like
believe they are, but I'm not sure.
I can't
I'm not sure
just-
either.
Somebody could.
Well, if they had a different word, that'd be great.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah,
I think,
like there needs to be a new word for describing someone like an esports athlete, but without using the word athlete.
I think we use the word athlete, and this just might be my opinion. I think we use the word athlete because we also use the word esports, and sports and athlete kind of bunt up next to each other.
That could be
I could agree with that.
So I think that's kind of the problem, where somebody along the line it's the StarCraft people, StarCraft 2 or StarCraft people, whenever esports kind of started. I think that they pigeonholed us into a situation where we're now calling ourselves esports, we're trending as esports, we've labeled ourselves as esports, and now likewise to any traditional sports, we've labeled the people that play in that pigeonhole. I mean, what we kind of figured now, which is athletes, or Olympians, or professional athletes, things like that. It's kind of we've put that in there, and I kind of agree with both of you guys, where it's like we as gamers, and maybe that's it, like professional gamer. I mean, I think that would probably be a more legitimate claim and title to what we do, because like Salt's saying, we do put ourselves under a different kind of exertion. We train our brains as opposed to training our bodies, and that's a big deal. I know myself when I was growing up, to get a Nintendo and to get a Sega, my parents were like, well, why should we get you this? Why should we get you this? This is like $200. I mean, this is ridiculous. This is like a $30, $40 game. Like, why am I going to do this? And I always remember that my go-to was like, well, it promotes hand-eye coordination. Like, it trains my it trains my brain to tell my. I mean, that didn't fly, but that was my thing.
I never tried that one.
You didn't try that one, Vizoui?
I never tried that one.
Did your parents just buy you video games just outright?
I told them that I would do educational games.
Okay.
It didn't work out well. I didn't do that ever.
They just let me get it because they assumed it would be a small hobby.
And now it's taken
Rip your parents.
Yeah, they were wrong.
Rip your parents, dude.
They were dead wrong. Okay. All right. So
I mean, I agree though. Like, it requires a lot of mental training, which is why I don't think athlete is a good word. Like, they were beginning to do a fundamental change in how we view the word athlete for it to be accurate to describe a professional gamer with it.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Okay. Now I'm gonna ask a controversial question. I'm gonna ask a very controversial question.
All right.
And this is gonna get both of you a lot of heat. I just hope you know that. And I'm
not. Are we going into politics?
I'm not gonna answer it. No, it might as well be politics. Let's
politics.
Go,
baby.
Okay. Vizoui, what is the most useless champion in League of Legends?
Oh, that's a tough fucking question.
This is so fucking tough.
Oh, man.
Useless.
What is the most useless champion in League of Legends? What is the champion whenever you get into League of Legends?
Hold on, let me go to my client.
And then somebody clicks on this champion, and you're like, I
already got it. I already know it.
This champion. Even despite the fact that if Faker was playing this champion, you would still be
well, that's not fair.
All right, any LCS pro, whenever you see him, you're like, oh, this freaking champion. He's even as god tier as he is, this guy, like this pro, is not going to be able to do anything with this champion. What champion is that to you, Salt? Since you said that you already have one.
I was gonna say Yasuo, but obviously Baker can make Yasuo work. So I'm gonna go with Aatrox.
Aatrox. Why?
When was the last time you've even seen an Aatrox?
That's true. Why is Aatrox so useless though? Why do you think he's so useless?
He can't lane versus anybody. He can't jungle. He can't do anything. He literally has nothing.
Why can't he do anything? What makes him so garbage?
He loses I'm pretty sure he loses literally every lane matchup that's possible right now.
But why does he do that?
Because he's garbage. What do you mean, why does he do that?
This is like
his kit is terrible.
Okay.
His W makes literally no sense.
Okay.
Either you get heals or you take damage, do more damage. Your Q is the shortest range on the planet, and everyone's mobile as hell, and your E is just a weird cone slow that's worse than Victory. And your ult is just, let me have more attack speed to do more useless things.
Okay.
He gets attack range, too.
There you go.
Oh yeah, sorry. Let me attack you from a little further away to be more useless. I can be more useless from over here.
Okay, well I think that's valid. Vizoui, you can't use Aatrox.
All right, I think it's pretty close between Zyra and who was the other one? I had another one. I can't remember. Probably Singed. I think it's close between Zyra and Singed in this current.
Proxy Singed, dude.
If we're talking at the top, a Zyra's probably the worst champion in the game right now, in my opinion.
She's about to get a rework.
Yeah, I think her rework is okay. I don't think it'll do that much. It's okay though. It's pretty good changes. But I think Zyra, she's squishy. She doesn't do enough damage to really be as immobile and squishy as she is. Her crowd control is hard to hit and very hard to chain together. And she's just so weak. They hit her with a bunch of nerfs. The meta changed unfavorably for her. She's not good support. Her mid got nerfed. It's just she's not good. There's not a single benefit to picking her. Anything she can do, there's another champion in the game that can do it better, plus have more benefits on top of it.
So I'm gonna say that Illaoi is garbage.
That's who else I was gonna say.
Illaoi.
Yeah, that was my second choice. I forgot. It's either Illaoi or Zyra.
Literally nothing, but
it's Illaoi or Zyra.
Well, I mean, and with the recent patch coming up, they're making Zyra like Illaoi, where just pods just kind of pop up randomly, the tentacle thing. I don't know.
See, the thing about Illaoi is anybody with more than 350 movement speed in any skill makes her entire kit useless.
Yeah, you can just literally keep walking and dodge it.
Yeah,
no skill involved.
if you know how to right click out of a skill, then she literally will never do damage to you.
The dumbest thing I've ever seen.
I
It is super annoying to have to kill those things, though.
Yeah, it's really annoying, but
Because
it's
you can't
like,
recall.
and also if you pick Callista, the game is over. Like Callista, you literally will never be hit by a single tentacle the entire game.
The tilt.
I mean, I don't think that we'll see either Aatrox or Alawi in a professional environment for a very, very long time. I don't know. I think we might see some Zyra support come back into the game after this rework. It's
Yeah,
possible.
it depends. I'll have to see how good the rework is.
It's
She
possible.
generally does pretty bad against tank supports, though.
Yeah,
So
it's possible.
we'll see.
Okay, so that's that one. I'm sure we'll all get a ton of flack in the comments section. I'm sure everybody.
And the Aatrox mains, the two of them are coming at me.
The two of them are
Yeah.
coming out. I know my buddy that constantly plays Alawi in every game that just thinks that Alawi is
Bronze.
the best because also because he's a big fan of the Ironborn in Game of Thrones. And
Oh my god.
those things are similar. I know that he's going to come after me. And I know all the Zyra mains out there are going to definitely heat up Vizoui's Twitter account. So we'll all
There's
get,
dozens of all of them.
we'll all
We're
get, a
gonna
lot
get
of
hit by dozens and dozens of people.
dozens of people that are like, you're wrong, and this is why you're wrong, and we'll see a bunch of calculations. and
Aatrox
things
not
like that.
worthless.
Yeah.
Look at his range he gets.
That's right.
Oh, buddy.
So
And he has that passive?
Ooh,
Come
that
on, he's not
passive.
worthless. He can
I
die
think it's
twice
the worst
super
revive
fast.
passive in the game.
I tell you what.
Oh, by far.
I tell you what. Anybody in the comments section or anybody that watches this, do yourself a favor. If you can commit yourself right now to not going and to Google, and you can answer me this one question, then we'll believe everything you say. But what is Aatrox's ultimate called?
Holy shit, I don't even know that.
Exactly.
Oh, I
wait,
think
is-
I got it. I think I know it.
It starts with like what?
No, see, you're
Actually,
having to
don't
look. You're having to look.
What is?
No, I think I know it. I think I know it.
Okay.
You
what
actually
is
know
it?
what it's called?
Right, yeah,
Okay,
I think
go.
it's called Massacre.
Is that what it's
I know what
called?
his Q is called. I think.
Is that what it's
I don't
called?
know.
I think it's called Massacre. Let me go check.
Is that what it's called?
I thought it started with a T.
Can't find him.
That's how worthless he is? Okay.
What is his role? I can't find him.
Just
Is
go
he a-
Aatrox wiki. Just write in Aatrox
is he a
wiki.
fighter? Where the hell is Aatrox?
Just write Aatrox wiki.
There we
He's
go. There we
A
go.
in the
Okay,
alphabet too.
I found him.
Aatrox?
His ultimate is yes, it's Massacre. I was
Nice.
right.
Good job. You win
I
yourself.
know his Q, but I don't know his ultimate. What's his W? You know his blood W?
I know his passive is Bloodwell.
Yep.
Yeah, I know his Q is Dark Flight.
There you go.
Yep.
I don't know
Yeah,
his
Massacre.
W. though.
His ability sounds super badass. I mean, that's if,
Yeah,
if,
if only-
that, if that
If only
counts
they
for
were
anything.
useful.
Yeah. if
Oh,
that
he gets
counts for
attack
anything.
speed too on his ulti.
Oh, buddy, he can be more useless faster. Let's go.
Okay, so
Let's go.
last question. Last question on what's clever with ever. All right, so you're both Salt. You're on a team. You play jungle on that team.
Yeah.
Vizoui, you're on a team. You play ADC for that team. You guys each have 4 players on your team with you. Couple of them that you guys play exclusively with. The jungler, it's kind of a toss-up between top and mid, but you're going to choose to go mid. Bottom lane, of course, it's always the ADC and his buddy the support, so you're going to pick support. So in all the regions of professional play, all the regions, if you could take a pro player and transmogrify them into your laner, and that's just they just embody one another. They are now one. They get like an all-spark or something. I don't know, and they're just one thing. Vizoui, who would you lane with? Who would be your
Mad Life. No question, Mad Life.
Mad Life? Okay.
What about Mata?
Easily one of my top 3 players of all time is Mad Life. I love that guy.
And you would make him play Thresh every game.
I don't care what he
Good,
plays. I
though.
just want him to be my friend.
Just be your friend. What?
Mad Life is awesome, dude. That guy
but
is
you-
the best.
But you can't understand a word he's saying.
Mata's
He
so
speaks
good
English?
though.
Huh?
Mad Life?
Mad Life speaks English.
Does he?
You should have picked Pickaboo.
Yeah.
Pickaboo actually does speak English. I don't think Mad,
Mad Life
does.
speaks English at a decent level.
Okay.
Does he really?
Like
enough
95% sure.
enough to say go in. Enough to say
Yeah.
go in and back off.
Yo, he's good enough that he don't need to communicate to carry me.
There you go. Okay, all right, Salt. You have the ability to pick a pro player in the mid lane that you're gonna go in, and you're gonna try to get this guy fed, snowball out of control, and carry you to the world championship. Who's that mid laner gonna be? You can't pick Faker.
Obviously, I'm not gonna pick Faker. He's garbage.
That's true.
I gotta pick someone who's good, dude.
It's good.
It's such a tough question because there's so many good mid laners.
There's a lot of good mid laners.
Oh, it's such a tough question.
Are you gonna
I think I'm gonna have to go to Europe for this because I want to speak English with this person.
Yeah, you have to speak English.
And I'm obviously gonna go to Europe.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go.
You're not gonna be.
I'm gonna go with Nuke. I'm gonna go with curveball here. People aren't gonna expect this, but I'm gonna go with Nuke Duck.
What?
Exactly. Nobody's gonna expect Nuke Duck. I love Nuke Duck. He's so good at his game.
Out of all the mid laners,
I would
Pobelter,
Nuke Duck.
Bjergsen,
Pobelter's trash. Nuke Duck.
Hui,
Bjergsen's a good one too, but I'm going Nuke Duck.
Xpeke, Power of Evil,
But see,
Ryu.
I'm going Nuke Duck. Nuke Duck.
Okay.
All day,
Alright.
every day. I love Nuke Duck. He's so good. Have you seen his Gangplank? Oh my god, please.
Yeah, he's a really good game plank. One of the
He's
best.
probably
in the
like the
world.
best Gangplank in the world.
Oh,
Besides
not even
Faker,
close to that.
probably.
What about fucking Gank by Mom, dude?
Oh yeah, GBM's super good at Gangplank too.
So
I think he's probably top 5.
He's top five.
Are you basing your decision purely off?
He's
the
not
fact that,
only good at Gangplank. Have you seen his Varus too?
Oh
Holy
my
shit,
god,
he's so good at his game.
Oh,
And he's
man.
so smart too. I love me some Nuke Duck.
I see.
He'll tell me what to do. I'll just be his little whipping boy.
All right. Okay.
He'll be like, "Go here in 20 seconds." Yes,
Well-
sir. I'll be there.
Well, I don't play for a team, so I can't pick one. But if I did, and I primarily play jungle, but I wouldn't pick a mid laner. I would pick a top, and if I had to pick one, it would definitely be Huni.
Oh, it's a Huni. Yeah, okay.
Huni's my boy.
Tough one to call there.
Huni's my boy.
Oh, I hate Huni. I hate Huni.
Why
so
do you
much.
hate Huni?
Yeah, I'd go
I just don't like
Cabashark.
him, dude.
Cabashark's
There's just something about him. I just don't like him.
Is it his audacious attitude to the fact?
I
that
think
he's
I just don't like
the
how
top
he
laner?
like his tilts or whatever
Okay.
kind of makes me mad, especially when I'm cheering for his team or whatever, and he just sitting there like 1-7 because he's tilted so much. He also
The
doesn't
tilt.
play tanks.
Well, that's what happens when you play
And
Lucian top.
I
lane.
honestly just don't like. I don't like the idea of people being able to swap around regions every single split. I don't
That's
think
why you
it's
go Cabashark, baby.
right. I think you should
Cabashark.
be. I think you should be locked into a region for a full year once you go to it. I think that way there'd be a lot less swapping around constantly.
Rip Yellow Star.
Yeah, right. So, okay, so this one is off the cuff. This one's off the cuff, and I've been wanting to talk to people about this situation.
Oh god.
All right.
What do you guys
Right.
think? And this really just kind of came up recently. I think, Salt, I think you and I talked about this. I know
Maybe.
me and my co-star, Pinguino, talked about this a lot. And this is actually a pretty good question for you, Vizoui, since you're going into the open qualifiers bracket. But do you think that it's right, or do you think that players that are now playing in the LCS at a pro level should be able to play in the Challenger Series?
Oh god, no.
Hell no. No.
That's so dumb. The
No
thing
way.
C9 is doing right now is the
It's
stupidest
super
thing
stupid.
I have
That's
ever
so
seen.
dumb. If you have been on an LCS team in the past, we'll call it 3 months, or maybe even just the last split, if you were playing in the LCS on a team as a starter, you should not be able to do a Challenger Series tournament. You shouldn't even be. Well, you should be able to play in Challenger Series like in the
But you
season.
shouldn't do the qualifier.
You should not be able to play in the qualifier.
You should be able to make a
not.
full team of LCS players and put them in the qualifier.
Yeah.
Like it
That's so
completely
unfair.
defeats the purpose of the entire idea, right? I really dislike it. It's not a good idea. I don't even think Maple Street and RF Legendary should be able to be
I don't
playing
think so
in it.
either. Yeah.
They should not be able to have a team in the tournament. I really don't like
So
it.
let's just say, guys, that this video goes viral. Okay, let's just say this video goes viral.
Hey,
Oh yeah, give me the follows.
I expect some of the money
And
Give
it-
me that Skrilla.
right
all day,
And-
baby.
and
Let's
it-
go.
And it hits Riot's ear. Okay, and so what would we say that we're going to be comfortable allowing into even the Challenger Series? I don't even want to say the I don't even want to say the qualifier. I want to say the Challenger Series. What do you think would be the rules and stipulations to LCS players playing in the Challenger Series? What do you think would be fair? Because we know that's going to happen, right? Like, it's going to be like, you know, they didn't make it on this team, so now they're looking for a spot. They're looking to get back into the LCS. What should be stipulations going into that? I'll open it up to both of you guys. I mean, whoever, does anybody?
All right. Well, here's my thoughts on it. I personally think that having the Challenger Series players and LCS players being able to freely swap out is very, very good for the scene. It allows a lot of players that aren't at the top yet to get a chance to play at the top and see how they do. I think it's very important for breeding talent that they can jump right from a Challenger Series team into the LCS. And for that to happen, the LCS player is probably going to have to go to the Challenger Series. So when it comes to an actual Challenger Series, like in the season, like the teams are there, there's no qualifiers or anything, I think it's very important to be able to swap pretty freely. I don't think you should be able to, I think there should be a maximum of 2 people swaps. So no more than 2 people can swap in and out of a team at a time. So you can't just swap like some random Challenger Series for Cloud9 or whatever. But I think it's very important that you can swap players freely from the Challenger Series into the LCS, because it also make sister teams like Team Liquid Academy and stuff a lot more popular, and it would really, really help bring up talent.
Do you think that there should even be sister teams, or do you think that that's monopolizing?
Definitely, sister teams are important for bringing talent up and making sure.
I think it helps both people. Like, I don't see any negative of sister teams.
I think I'm going to disagree with you guys for maybe the first time during.
I think it helps. Helps the main team and sister team.
I'm going to disagree.
Yeah, it helps both.
I'm going to disagree that the fact that they have sister teams in the Challenger Series. And the only reason I do that is because we can look at traditional esports. Like the Raptors, like the Toronto Raptors don't have a sister team that like they bring up from like the college level. You know what I mean? Like if you're in a
it's different though.
But it's not really that different. I mean,
because they can practice against their own team because there's so many people on that roster. Whereas if you have a sister team, you can practice with the sister team.
I mean, but
like
your
how it
sister
is.
team doesn't have to be. Yes, the Cowboys do have a sister team, but they have it at Craig Ranch to where that team vies for spots on the main team. It's like if they have a running back that's outperforming the starter on the starting line for the Dallas Cowboys, then that running back takes their spot. Dallas Cowboys doesn't have a team at the college level here in Texas that they're able to pull from that team onto the Dallas Cowboys. Does that make sense? Like, I just don't think that, like, that would be like the Cowboys having the ability to use their administrative staff and their support staff to train a college, let's just say Baylor Bears at Craig Ranch. You see how that would kind of spark an unfair advantage for the rest of the college teams?
Well, yeah, but can't everyone do that, though?
Yeah, if everyone did that, yeah.
And maybe sister teams is a bad word, but maybe just make it so there's a connection between LCS teams and Challenger Series teams that they can freely swap out, even if they're not in the same organization. Just something like that.
I think that's great.
Something like that. Like if an LCS team is like, hey, you haven't been performing to our standards. We want to try in this Challenger Series guy. He might be a prodigy. We want to test him in an LCS game and see how he does. I think if that was allowed to happen and that was more common, it would impact the scenes so well. It would allow for a ton of new players to be noticed. It would probably improve viewership because new players are playing on the big stage and stuff and they want to see them. And I just think it would impact the scene so well if Challenger Series and LCS teams freely swapped out players that they think could help their team or something like that.
I think it would also bolster. I think it would bolster viewership, and it would maybe even change some of the mentality of a lot of the players if that was a possibility. Because I think people would have to watch their I think LCS players would have to watch their PR, watch their ethics a lot more and things like that because there's new blood coming in. It almost seems kind of like a boys or a gentleman's club how the LCS is currently run, because it's like you have a group of pro players that like you constantly see. We were talking about Maple Street earlier, RF Legendary. These guys have already been in the LCS. They didn't perform. They were sent out. You know, both of these, I know one of the players has even had some bad PR in the past about tilting and bad behavior and getting banned and stuff like that. But like, we keep seeing these players again and again, and I think you're right. I think that it would be really positive. Also, I think that they need more teams in the LCS. I also think that that's...
I think that's risky. I think there should be more teams in the Challenger Series,
Yes.
but I think the LCS having 10 teams is fine.
Okay.
If you have more than 10 teams, especially that they're going to have best of threes, there would just be too many hours a day.
Too many bad teams too.
Yeah, too many bad teams, and also just
Too
too many
boring.
games that they have to play to make it not.
Fair
Like,
enough.
there would just be way too many
Fair
games.
enough. Then
I think 10
definitely-
teams is the perfect number, but I think there should be like double the amount of Challenger Series teams.
I think so too.
I agree with that.
Yeah, I mean, just to give people an opportunity to watch other people as opposed to just these people, and they can kind of follow them. Kind of like it would almost be like if the Collegiate Series, if that kind of situation like led to the Challenger or to the LCS kind of deal. I don't know. Like, I kind of feel like that having more teams in the Challenger Series would kind of be that step between pro and amateur that would be a less incremental leap. And I feel like now it's just there's like this huge leap from amateur to pro. I kind of feel like that. You guys agree or no?
Yeah, that's very true.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Stream.
Well, that's it for What's Clever on Ever. I'd like to thank my man Vizoui from Gamehaus, and I'd like to thank my man Salt from the Bladed Kings. You guys for joining me. I appreciate that, guys.
Thanks
Yeah,
for
no
having
problem.
me.
Thanks for having me too. It was fun.
All right, I
Was
am
good.
Ever and out.
On the West Coast, I get this feeling like it all could happen. That's why